Okay, we are live. So, Philly Jim, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad to be on here today.
Well, yeah, first things first, I want to get out of the way. But what do you have any expectations for the Eagles this for the season?
Um, it's going to be interesting. I think they'll be better than last year. Doesn't say it much. Only won 4 games. But I think you got a lot of young guys on the team, guys that are hungry to be back. Had a lot of injuries on the offensive line. Brandon Brooks and Lane Johnson are coming back. Uh, so I can see this team winning anywhere from 7 to 9 games this year, which
That's what
may
I
or may
that's what I
not be
that's
enough.
what I had them winning.
Which may
But
or may not be enough to win the NFC East.
you
So
never
they
know.
could still make the playoffs, but we'll just have to see
Wait and see. Yeah.
how the other
But
teams play.
what are your thoughts of Trayvon Grimes and Jamie Newman getting cut?
Well, when it comes to Jamie Newman, I think he was just a camp body, a camp arm, just so they would have more quarterbacks around. And Grimes, he's been having some issues with his knee, so it was kind of expected.
Yeah,
But
it
he
was
cleared
expected as
waivers
well.
and he's on IR, so yeah, not really.
Yeah,
Not
not a
really
huge.
anything to
It's
make
not
a
a
big deal
situation.
about.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I'm really looking forward because I think with this team, I feel like if they want to win in double digit games, I would be surprised with this group of guys that we have.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like maybe I know hopefully Josh Sweat breaks out. Jordan Mailata could also be a breakout star. There's got to be a lot of could be a lot of breakout stars with this squad.
Who would be your number one breakout star then?
It would be Josh Sweat.
Josh Sweat?
Yeah,
Okay.
we all know how good Ryan Kerrigan is, so I think if he can if Sweat can learn from Kerrigan, I think he could be another dangerous defensive end.
All
And
right. Yeah,
Sweat's
definitely. He was
Sweat is
very
also
productive.
yeah, but I kind of feel like Sweat could also is going to. I think Sweat can get a lot better. Hopefully
Sure
to
he
the.
can.
But yeah, it's
Okay,
like
that's fair.
yeah. Obviously, Moiletta was my second because it's like we all know what he's capable of. With that rugby background that he has,
Right.
and I think he'd be a great left tackle for us.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. But for me, on offense, I'm going to go with Devontae Smith, just because I think him coming in, even as a rookie, the Eagles haven't had a receiver like him. Um, for a long time, and they haven't had a guy that can, just you can rely on him to win his one-on-one matchup. That's what he brings to the table. Crisp route runner, good hands, gets the job done. You saw what he did at Alabama, winning the Heisman Trophy. We need that X factor type of a player in this offense, and that's what Devontae Smith brings to the table. On defense, guy I'm looking at to take the next step is going to be Kavon Wallace, the safety that we took last year. I think Jonathan Gannon, he has a DB coach in his background, so he's gonna get these guys ready to play out there in the secondary, and I think we're gonna see Kavon Wallace fly around and make a lot of plays, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about him.
I'm just
So
excited,
those are
excited as
those
well.
those are my two guys.
I think majority of Eagles fans would have Desmonte Smith as their number one breakout because of
Mhm.
just all the hype that he brings since coming from Alabama.
Right,
And my
absolutely.
idea is if he can live up to that, there should be no reason he should be offensive rookie of the year.
Well, I mean, I like a lot of the guys in this receiver core. I think they complement each other really well. I think Rager will have a bounce back season. I think Greg Ward has been very reliable for us. His route running has gotten better. He's got reliable hands. It seems like every time you need to make a play and get a third down conversion, Greg Ward is always there, and he's reliable in those situations. And Fulgham was playing very well until Alshon Jeffrey got back to the lineup. I think Jeffrey taking a lot of his snaps kind of threw his rhythm off. But Travis Fulgham was also a good one. So I think a lot of these guys are young, hungry, and I think they all complement each other's games very well. I think each of these guys brings something different to the table.
I think so as well because not to mention we have a young coaching staff and it's like Sirianni. I think I think Gannon and Shane Steichen are going to be really the key crucial points for both sides of our team for the on both sides of the football in terms of what can the offense can produce and what can the defense do. Kind of where because we all know. I mean, even though Sirianni is still kind of an unknown, but I kind of
Uh-huh.
feel like he's going to really thrive here in Philadelphia with with the coaching staff that he has.
Right, absolutely. I think it's a breath of fresh air. You know, the offense became very stagnant the past couple of years with Doug Peterson. It was very predictable, and a lot of times it was just hard to watch because these plays they just weren't working. But Nick Sirianni, what everyone's been saying about him, there's a new feeling in the building. There's a lot of energy. The guy loves football. He knows a lot about the X's and O's, and the players like him. So you know, I do think it is something that we can look forward to.
But yeah, I mean, it's like we all know what Shane Steichen's credibility, what he did with Justin Herbert, which was disgusting, turned into like the rookie of the year over there for the Chargers, and Jonathan Gannon, just coming from Indy, who has a stellar, defense. It's like, I mean, you can't even ask any better than that to add for the coaching staff to really, change the culture of the way this organization is run.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think you're right. I think it's just like I said earlier, breath of fresh air, out with the old, in with the new. It's gonna be fun and interesting to watch. But yeah, I think these coaches are gonna put these players in the position to be successful. I think Sirianni is gonna do it. Steichen, also Jonathan Gannon, quarterbacks coach Brian Johnson. He's been around Jalen Hurts, where he's known Jalen Hurts since he was a kid. He tried to recruit Jalen Hurts when he was coming out of college, when he was at Mississippi State, but Hurts ended up going to Bama, and the rest is history. But you know, there's just a familiarity with Hurts and the quarterback coach, so I think that's also going to be huge. Yeah, man, there is a lot of things to look forward to.
Like with Sirianni, and I had a few buddies of mine just talking to me today. He's going to allow the receivers to play to their strengths, not compared to what Doug Peterson was doing. Kind of mismatching. It's like say, I mean, obviously Greg Ward's going to be our number one slot receiver when it comes to the if you need a slot,
Yeah,
like a slot, wherever I think it was a slant route or something like that. And you'll have I guess you can have Rager and Smith on the outside. Maybe you can also put Rager in the slot if you need to on certain matchups. Because, like you said, the play call was getting stagnant, and most teams were figuring out that play style. And it's just like, bringing in Sirianni, Shane Steichen, Jonathan Gannon. I feel like this is going to really mesh together. Like one week they're having this amount of plays. I think we're going to be running the ball more to Jalen Hurts' strength, and along with Miles Sanders.
yeah, absolutely. But one thing I want to bring up is uh, they've been talking about how these guys are going to be interchangeable at their positions. You know, and one guy's not just going to play like Greg Ward's not just going to play the slot. Rager's not just going to play the slot. There's going to be plays where whatever matchup they feel they can exploit, they're going to do that. If you have a really slow corner that plays in the slot, you know you're going to want to put a quick guy on him, move Rager around, exploit that matchup, move Devontae, whoever you want to move around, they're going to move around to exploit these matchups. So that's something I don't think that we have been doing previously, but I think that's also something that'll be good to see.
Yeah, I mean, like we're going to hopefully, and another breakout I want to bring up is Miles Sanders.
Yep.
Because obviously we kind of misused him. Despite him get injured on it every now and again, it's just like I think with this coaching staff, I feel like they're going to bring his full potential to light and what he can do for his skill set.
Yeah, definitely. He hasn't been used the right way. But when this guy gets the ball in his hands, he's very explosive. He makes plays. He can catch it and run it. He's got good vision. It's just about being in the right situation, and hopefully now that you have a new coaching staff, guys will be used in different ways. So Miles Sanders is definitely one of our better young players that we do have and have had on the team for the past few years. Him and Goddard came in the same draft class in
I think it
2019,
was.
I believe.
I think
So
I think we got Dallas in 18 when the Hope were in Dallas, Texas at the time.
okay.
Because I think
Oh yeah, you're
Miles,
right.
yeah,
You're right.
Miles, I think was the year after, if my memory
Yeah, you're
serves
right.
me right.
You're
Yeah,
right. You're right.
because it's like because when it comes to and it's just like we all know what Miles Sanders can do, and Dallas Gardner, you know, if he exceeds expectations, he needs that extension because it's like obviously all of us Eagles content creators, we kind of are always talking about this Ertz debacle. It's like it's either you trade him or just get at least get something. At least I think, and I don't know. Joey said I think he also said maybe at least get a third for Ertz. It's like I was like I don't know, maybe like a third or a fourth if you're lucky for what Ertz is technically valued at his trade value at this moment.
Well, I mean, it just depends. I don't really know what exactly we're going to be able to get for Zach Ertz in return, but I definitely think he's on his way out. The signing of Richard Rodgers yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, which I think I love Richard
Um,
Rodgers.
he's a good backup tight end, and he can block well, and he can catch the ball, and he can make plays too. But I think that's just a sign that he's going to come in and be the number 2 tight end, and Ertz is probably
It's
he's
going to be
probably
out the
going to
door.
he's going to be probably traded in the next very
Hopefully,
soon.
yeah. I mean, this is kind of getting ridiculous at this point. But yeah, I mean, like you are going to have Dallas as the first tight end. Bringing back Richard Rodgers, I think is maybe I don't because I don't know what's I don't know because with Sirianni's play style is kind of unknown to us at this point, so we don't know what he's going to be running. If it's like a one tight end, two tight end set, and all that. Because I think it's like we got just a talented group of people. It's just like it's hard to choose who's going to be like the best out of that group. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah,
it's like
definitely.
how Brian Johnson's. I think Brian Johnson or was it Brian Johnson or Brian Flores? I can't remember. I don't know if it was his last
Brian
name.
Johnson, Brian Flores is the head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
Okay, because I kind of feel like this is going to help just Jalen Hurts succeed even more because of that familiarity, along with like we obviously mentioned, Devontae Smith, former Alabama buddies. Like I think this is going to really help Jalen Hurts succeed, maybe push him to the next level of a what we should have in a franchise quarterback.
Well, I hope so. I think Jalen Hurts. I think he has a big chip on his shoulder. I think a lot of people are doubting him. I think a lot of people aren't really sure if he can be the guy or not. But I don't think that's anything new for him.
No, because
So I think he's
he's
just gonna go out there and give his best shot at it.
he's probably got
I
that
don't.
underdog mentality.
It's
Just
not.
like
It's not always gonna be perfect, but he is gonna put the work in, and I think he's gonna give it his best shot. And I hope he does really well
I hope so too. I mean, it's
because
like
he brings a lot of good things to the table: leadership, intangibles, great work ethic. So it's just a matter of putting it all together on the field. So yeah, I think it's just time to unleash Hurts and
see what he can do.
let him do what he feels most comfortable doing and see where that gets us.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like because like we said, we're all excited to watch the Eagles this year. Because it's just like we just want to see how Nick Sirianni does in his first year, along with like Jonathan Gannon, Shane Stite, and that's right. And me and my buddy Brandon, who lives out in Arizona, we were talking about the fourth, so who's going to be the new OC for the Eagles, And the one name that he kind of talked about was Shane Steichen. It's like, okay, so maybe that's one. And there was another guy I kind of forgot I mentioned. And then the day after, we wound up getting Shane Steichen from the Chargers. I was like, okay, I was like, you know what? I kind of like the pickup because I know because saw what he has done with in terms of how he turned Justin Herbert around for the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, just bringing in a guy that actually has experience, which hasn't really been the case since Frank Reich was here. You had a lot of offensive consultants. You didn't really have a true OC. Mike Groh was here. They said Press Taylor was helping with the play calling some last year. These guys just they don't have what it takes to really coach the game of football. No disrespect, but
yeah, I
these
understand.
guys don't. These guys.
Yeah,
these guys
I understand where you're going right there.
They were bad.
Yeah, that's pretty much basically put it in terms of they were just like Micro, which is kind of an eyesore and along with Press Taylor as well. It's just like, praise the Lord that they're gone. But I think, like you said, like we kind of wrapped it, put it all together. It's like it's a whole new change. It's a new look. Probably new fresh ideas that Sirianni could put together. Just got to see how it puts all together for the season.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know how everything's gonna go, but I think they'll at least be exciting to watch.
Yeah, hopefully in a very long time. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of I want to try at least kind of give like a summary of basically cover the Eagles for a bit because I know guys like Joey Shakes and all that have kind of done this before us, and but yeah, I just want to just give your thoughts on like small bits and pieces here and there of what we know at this point before before OTA start. I'm not entirely too sure where we're at right now.
What do you mean, like
But
in terms of what?
I don't know if the OTAs has started for any of the teams yet because I kind of
OTAs has been going on for a while.
Okay, yeah, because I must have been living under a rock then. Because
it's just the voluntary workout programs is what OTAs are. So a lot of guys have been in the building. Some guys haven't. But training camp is scheduled to take place on July 27th. So got a little bit over a month until there, but there's a lot of competitions that are going to be taking place for the starting job. And that's one thing Nick Sirianni has brought up a lot. This team is about competition. People aren't just going to be handed starting jobs. Everyone has to compete and earn their spot on the 53-man roster. So some of the competition I'm looking forward to. The receiver competition is going to be really good. You got
the running back's going to be interesting as well.
Running backs, offensive left tackle between Andre Dillard and Jordan Mailata. That's going to be really good too. But it's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, it is. But when it comes to the left tackle, I kind of feel like Mailata's going to outbeat Dillard because it's like we waited for how many years for Dillard to do actually get there. Because I feel like this is where Mailata will take the next step to
I agree.
secure that left tackle spot. Now at the running backs, that's going to be a tough one because you got like some good names in there. We all know Miles Sanders is a lock. That's a guarantee. Because I kind of feel like number two, I feel like Kerryon Johnson is going to be that number two running back, and I say Gainwell as well. To maybe carry three running backs if we're lucky.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. There's just the running back room is a little crowded. I don't know who. It's hard to guess who would be the odd man out. But I feel like they're gonna want somebody they want every running back to bring something else to the table.
Yeah,
so they can run different plays and so on and so forth. Miles Sanders, what he brings to the table. He's explosive. He's not really like a power back, so I think that's why you do have a guy like Jordan Howard. Boston Scott has kind of been like that Darren Sproles type of third down running back that catches passes out of the backfield, but you don't really want him to take a lot of carries. So, you can mix in a little bit of carry on, a little bit of Jordan Howard with Miles Sanders, and occasionally with Boston Scott, and I think that'll be a pretty good recipe for success.
Yeah, I think it would be because it's like, I mean, obviously we all know what on Johnson can do, especially as being a dual threat running back. And because some of the highlights I have seen during his time in Detroit, which I'm surprised that they, surprised that they cut him because the kid he's still a young guy, by 23 years old. Like I feel like, but the only issue that I probably would see the key is can he stay healthy and throughout the 17 game
17
season.
game. Yep.
Yeah.
That is something. Yeah, that's something that's been an issue for not just one of our guys, but quite a few of them. I mean, Howard has missed time. Miles Sanders has missed time. Kerryon Johnson has missed a lot of time in his career. But one thing I want to bring up when it comes to these injuries, when you look at the Eagles, when they went from the Chip Kelly regime to the Doug Peterson regime. So when we had Chip Kelly, we never, ever had injuries. Players used to complain about Chip Kelly because of his sports science and his conditioning was ridiculous. But guess what? Team never got hurt. Now, I'm not defending any of the
stuff that he did,
bad personnel moves that he did make, but his way of running the practices, obviously he was doing something right because we didn't get injuries. Doug Peterson, I feel like the way he was running his practices, the conditioning was not great, and I think that's what led to a lot of injuries. So I'm interested to see how is this going to go with Sirianni. Is he going to run? How is he going to do his conditioning? It's all things you have to think about.
Yeah, it is because with Chip Kelly, there's a lot of things I can give him credit for. Obviously, running, actually keeping the team healthy is the one thing I will give him credit for. And he knows how to get the right people in the draft. That's about it. Everything else is kind of what he's. I mean, even though we had a couple, two winning seasons under him before everything went downhill. Yep. After that, it's just like I feel like some college coaches are not ready to coach the NFL because
absolutely not.
Unless you're the exception of Cliff Kingsbury and the Arizona Cardinals, but that's a whole different exception to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like we're not sure how Sirianni is going to run his practices. Keep up the conditioning, see if it. I think if he can do what Chip Kelly has done, kind of run practices, to help not keep the team healthy, then yeah, I'd like to see everybody healthy and ready to go. Because if not, we're gonna hopefully not be rolling down the hill. Basically, have that snowball effect.
Right, I absolutely agree.
But I mean, that's all I want to cover for the Eagles part of it.
Okay.
But I want to move on to the Sixers and the NBA kind of thing.
All right.
Since you're obviously repping the Sixers gear today.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but
definitely.
Well, what are your thoughts right now? Where the Sixers?
Well, you know what? It's pretty much going as I expected it to go so far. I was surprised of how flat that they came out in game one.
Yeah.
But that just happens sometimes. The Hawks they basically couldn't miss at all in the first quarter, and we turned the ball over a lot. So we still almost came back and won that game. So this series could very well be 3-0 right now. But the Sixers have played very well for the past 2 games, and Joel Embiid. People were very worried about him coming back from having a torn meniscus. The first 2 games, 39 points the first game, 40 points the second game. Had 27 in game 3. So Joel Embiid he's really doing a great job, and the adjustments that Doc Rivers has made on Trae Young has been really good because you did not want to have an old Danny Green guarding Trae Young.
No,
you put Ben Simmons on him, and it's a totally different story now.
Because with Ben Simmons, I can feel like he can match up with Trae Young. Match
up with anyone.
Because Trae Young. Well, I'm just saying, because Ben Simmons has got a lot of speed for a guy his size, but he can also, like we all know, he can guard.
He can guard
Yeah,
any
exactly.
position. He can guard any player. So
I mean,
yeah,
it's just like
it was really surprising. It was really surprising that wasn't the game plan out of the gate.
But now, like obviously, game 2 and 3, they finally Rivers actually made that adjustment because it's like we all know what Ben Simmons is capable of. Despite the frustrations we had to deal with over the last 4 seasons with him. But like you said, with Joel Embiid, having that torn meniscus, but I kind of feel like it doesn't look as bothering him. It's not affecting
not
him
at all.
because I feel like he's just like he's well, no, I want to be part. Basically, he's a gritty player. Obviously to represent the city of Philadelphia.
Well, he really wants to win a championship, and that's something that he's been
kind of preaching.
That's kind of something he's been saying for a number of years now. Even before this season, he's been a different Joel Embiid.
It's insane.
He's been much better, and people always question him, not because of his ability, because we saw it. He showed his flashes of this guy can be a great player.
He could be an MVP.
He never had the consistency. He never took stuff seriously. He was always on Twitter talking crazy.
Just running his mouth.
He was always out of shape, and this loss to the Toronto Raptors, I think that
just set him off.
But they got moving on for Brett Brown was the biggest thing with that, because I think Doc Rivers just came in and said, look, you either want it or you don't. To quote Mobb Deep, an older rap group from the 90s, there ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. You either want it or you don't. And I think that's what happened, and I think they coached him up, held him accountable, and this is where he's at. And I don't think that meniscus tear is bothering him at all. I think that meniscus tear, actually, I think that happened before the playoffs, but they just didn't know about it. And then when he fell down, he might have tweaked it a little bit. So they had at
MRI. First, I thought when he fell, I thought he bruised his tailbone like he did.
He wasn't even holding his knee.
Yeah, because it's like, but at least and that's the thing too. It's like you said, I think he's already finally hit that glass ceiling that we've been waiting to see. And I made the video about this too, and I kind of thought to myself, does the MVP really matter? Say if he wins it all, does it really matter to say if he didn't win it, since he's already got a ring? Does that really matter?
I mean, yeah, no one's going to care. No one's going to care about the MVP if we win the NBA Finals, and I certainly don't think he'll care if he gets it. If he gets a Finals MVP over a league MVP, I think he'll take that all day long. Because look at the Denver Nuggets. Look at Nikola Jokic. Great player, had a great season.
Oh yeah,
but they're going to get swept.
Yeah,
they're done. They're cooked.
Because obviously, Suns are a dangerous team,
right?
Because it's it's just like you said, it's like winning all. I kind of feel like it's more important especially to us, because obviously we hadn't won anything since 1983, and the last time we've been to the finals was 2001. Since that's the year I got into the Sixers. I've been a Sixers fan since 2001. So. Mm-hmm. I mean, because at the time we had two great players in Mutombo and AI, and that was about it. But it's just I think this is all coming together finally after all these process from the process years. It's I think we finally have a complete team to go deep.
Definitely, and something to keep an eye on. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets game, but Kyrie Irving did leave that game with an injury, with an ankle injury.
No way.
And they already lost Harden.
And I heard
don't exactly know the timetable or how serious Harden is with the hamstring, but Kyrie, he had an ankle injury, so it's possible he won't be ready for the Eastern Conference Finals. It's possible the Nets don't beat the Bucks if they don't have either of those two, unless KD really shows that he can carry the team. But I don't know.
It's something
It's kind of interesting.
because I saw that Harden is still eyeing a return from that hamstring injury, which I kind of feel like is. I think that's. I feel this is what's going to destroy the Nets if they're because like we all know that their big three hasn't played a lot of games together since because obviously Harden's kind of being the new addition to the Nets, but you had like KD and Kyrie already been playing together, so
Yeah.
it's going to be a hard time to get that chemistry together compared to what we have. With our basically with our the team that we've constructed, which
Yeah.
obviously later I really hope Doc can really trim down the bench a little bit. I mean, obviously we know. I mean, Tyrese Maxey just my God is he on a level when it comes like what he's because it's like as I I'm thinking to myself maybe he's not ready, but then again he kind of proved us wrong. Like I said, look, I may be a rookie, but I can still show up and work night in and night out on the court.
Right. I tend to disagree a little bit. I really like Maxi, but I think that Shake is more ready for this moment right now. You saw that that Maxi was playing really well at the end of the season, and even in the first round, he pretty much took a lot of Shake's minutes. But the turning point of Game 2 was late in the third quarter when Shake Milton comes in and hits a buzzer beating three, and that pretty much ignites a huge run where he came off the bench and had 14 points. Had put in some good minutes in Game 3 as well. So I like Maxi. I don't think he's as good of a shooter as Shake is, and I think that you got to be able to shoot in the playoffs. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So
that's kind of like that's what I said too. Like basically, I said this guy is I feel like this is like going to be a bad idea. Since look, we all know he can drive to the basket, but he needs to start working. He needs to work on on the shot a little bit. And like you said, Shea is obviously was one of the guys that's probably ready off the bench. You know, after buzzer beater three, kind of ignited that our team. It's just like we all know Maxi has a tremendous amount of talent for the guy that we picked it. And still, I mean, I'm still surprised how he fell at 20 to 21. Like, I don't understand why people wouldn't just take the kid. But then again, it kind of worked out for us, because at this point, I kind of really don't pay. The only because like I really don't pay attention to the NBA draft because I just don't know what kind of players
right.
are going to be NBA ready or something of that nature compared to the MLB draft where I kind of just do a lot of homework on. Obviously, I'm because I did MLB draft well, kind of like prediction where Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter are going to fall, and I said maybe Jack Leiter is going to be the number one and Kumar's going to be number two. That's just my kind of take on things, but I don't disagree with you one bit about Tyrese Maxey. Just
Yeah.
in
I think he's a good player. I think he's going to be really good when his time comes. But I don't think this is his time right now. I think Shake is going to be providing more of what we need at this current moment in time. But
oh
with
yeah,
Danny Green going out for a couple weeks, I actually do think he's going to be missed. He hasn't really played well this series, but he's much better against the Washington Wizards. But he provides a lot of leadership. He provides shooting. That he actually had a good year shooting the ball, shooting 39% for three. But we need guys to step on those places. One of those guys was Furkan Korkmaz
yeah.
in
We all
Game
know
3.
he's
Had a big
yeah.
game as well. Shake. We need him to continue to do what he's been doing. And if
And
Maxi is called
obviously
upon as well, he
like
needs
Dwight
to come.
Howard is another guy I would needs to. The only thing with Dwight Howard is to stay out of foul trouble because
Yeah,
we all know how Dwight Howard is, especially at 35 years old, still fine and still to me surprising
still
me.
doing it.
Yeah, I'm
And he's still effective.
yeah, and George Hill's another guy too that I think this is really going to help our bench a little bit.
Yeah. George Hill's been in the league a long time. He's played for a lot of teams that have gone far in the playoffs. He was with the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James. in 2018 when they went to the NBA Finals. He spent time with the Bucks as well.
And then I think he
So
also spent time with the Pacers, if I'm not mistaken.
yep.
Before, but yeah, I mean, it's
So,
just
but
like
he's got playoff experience and
exactly.
he's a vet and
Because
he
him
knows
and
what he's
Dwight
doing.
Howard were my first two people when I was doing me and Mitch were kind of doing our bench construction. So George Hill and Dwight Howard were my first two off the bench. Because not that I mentioned because without think about it, without Dwight Howard, Joel Embiid wouldn't be as dominant as he would, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think you're right. But this team's playing extremely well right now,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I feel like they can go as far as they want to go.
Because at first I was kind of critical, do we? Before they even play. Wait, this is way before the playoffs started. Because I was thinking, maybe could we just add like another piece to like the bench or whatnot? Because there's just a few guys I wouldn't to get caught off the bench. Mike Scott is obviously one of them.
Unplayable.
Exactly. It's just like I would rather have Matisse Thybulle coming off the bench for defensive purposes. I know his offensive game is starting to come around a little bit, but I kind of feel like it's more time. I just feel like I feel like this team is kind of complete, but just kind of trim down the bench as far that you're going into the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right.
Because it's like I kind of feel like Matisse still has a very high ceiling. We all know how great a defender that he can be, that he is. Alone, obviously with Vince. Because that's the thing too. I say if I want to have someone starting it from Danny Green, I would say Matisse Thybulle. Have two great defensive players out on the floor. But I don't know. That's just maybe that's just me.
Yep. Yeah, man, you pretty much nailed it.
I don't know if you had anything. I have a different opinion on that because I don't want to disagree with you on it about that. Anyways.
Nah, man, I'm with you 100% on that.
So you would have Matisse Thybulle out on the floor with Ben Simmons, Seth.
Well, it just depends on what you. It just depends on what you want to replace Danny Green with. Do you want to? If you want an extra defender, then yeah, go with Matisse Thybulle. But if you don't, if you would rather have floor spacing, go with Korkmaz. It just depends on. It just depends on what
the situation
is. What Doc is looking for.
And I think most times tonight I think he because we all know because it's like, and then because I think with this team obviously we know how great a defensive team we are, and we were like in the top 2 in defensive rating. So I think if you want to go a little bit of defense, I mean, Thybulle is probably your better option. Like I said, you need floor spacing, go with Korkmaz. I mean, it's 50-50 depending on how, like you said, how Doc Rivers is going to play this. But, and the funny thing is that I saw earlier is Seth Curry's brother, Stephen Curry, is kind of rooting for us, which I thought is like.
I saw that earlier.
I thought I was just like smiling from ear to ear, just like saying, for a guy who's, Steph Curry, one of the still a deadly 3-point shooter. It's just like
he's overlooked due to his brother's success.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's a very solid player.
Yeah, Seth is. I kind of just feel like you said, he's kind of underappreciated. Obviously, we all know he's overlooked by his brother Steph, but Steph is his kind of rooting his brother on. This is what I like to see. Despite obviously Seth is his dog, and still I still find that surprising that Seth is his Doc's son-in-law. That's still what I find finding surprising.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yes, it's just like there's a bit of family dynamic, but like overall, I think this team, I think we can do it because number one, I'm not worried. This Hawks team is nothing. I mean, outside,
I wouldn't say they're nothing, but I just think the Sixers we're just a superior team. They have nothing for us, and Clint Capella is. He's a very underrated player. He's a guy that I really like. He's a good defender, but he just can't. He doesn't have the size to match up with Joel, and he has nothing for him. So Joel is
exactly.
just going to get exactly what he wants, no matter what. And the fact that Kyrie Irving and James Harden could miss an extended period of time, that kind of changes the landscape. Because I do believe that the Sixers could potentially take the Brooklyn Nets either way.
I
Especially
mean,
since we have home court, we play very well. But if they don't have Kyrie and they don't have Harden, that makes the 76ers the favorites in the East.
exactly. That's what I'm thinking too. Because, like, say, because like without those two, I feel like those two are kind of like the glue that holds the Brooklyn Nets together, in a way. Because, well, I mean, I have no disrespect to Kyrie and the kind of player that he is. You
Right.
know, just by his off court, actions, all that jazz. Same with James
Mm-hmm.
Harden. It's just like you said, without them, we're pretty much the favorites of the East.
It makes things easier matchup wise because matchup wise, you kind of still had even without Harden in the lineup, you still had you got to figure out how you're going to defend Kyrie and Kevin Durant at the same time. You're either going to put Thibault on Kyrie, and you're going to put Ben on KD, or a combination of the both, switching, whatever you want to do. But when you only have to worry about KD being the main threat, you can focus more on slowing him down and then dealing with the role players.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I
if that
mean,
happens, then
I think we
your
should be fine.
the chances for your success are pretty high, I would say.
Exactly, because it's like, and look, I mean, obviously we all. I mean, I've seen like the different like years. Well, technically the New Jersey Nets slash Brooklyn Nets. So I kind of kind of paid attention to their like growth to rebuild kind of thing. It's just like, let's say, and look, KD. We all know how great of a player that that he is. The credibility that he's developed. I just feel like Brooklyn. It's just like they kind of want to buy success compared to
Right.
us. Compared to
The
us,
Sixers are a totally different team. We
we
didn't
didn't.
really recruit any superstars or do any of that stuff.
We try to work for.
Ben and Joel were obviously drafted here. Tobias was brought in a trade, and then he signed an extension with us. And he's kind of been an X factor for the team as well, because
Yeah, I
last
mean,
season he was not playing very well at all. This season,
he just
he's been the reason why we've won a lot of the games we have, because he's just been a reliable scorer for us, and he takes pressure off of Joel. So you know what? I really like the way this team is built. These guys have been playing it's like you said earlier, like Joel and Ben and Tobias. These guys have been around each other for the last 2 or 3 years now, so they know how to play with each other.
The chemistry.
So that's why the
compared to
chemistry. That's why the
chemistry's
chemistry is
there.
something that you got to talk about.
It's the same way when, and even though when we brought in Seth Curry and Danny Green, obviously it was a slow start, but it was starting to get that more chemistry to have a better starting five than what we had last year and the year before that. But that's the thing too. It's like now, like for us, like we're working hard to get that success. Like obviously the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, they're trying to buy success. It's like you're really going to put yourself in cap hell, because it's like the amount of the contract. The contracts that you're kind of paying out to your star players like KD, Kyrie, James Harden. I think that's pretty much what I had to basically think about, because that's the thing too. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like you said, kind of hit it on the head. This team is built. Obviously, we don't. Tobias, like you said, Tobias is the X factor, and the fact that he's doing what he did, maybe a little bit better than what he did with the Clippers when Doc Rivers was there. I kind of feel like this is the kind of Tobias we really needed to see before when we signed him to that max extension.
Right, I think you're right. I think a lot of people were not thrilled about that after the Jimmy Butler situation played out.
Yeah,
a lot of people
that
were
was
saying
kind of stupid.
we kept Tobias Harris, we didn't keep Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler didn't play very well at all in the playoffs this season, and Tobias, he's been one of the more efficient guys in the postseason. So it's just something that in hindsight, it looks like the Sixers actually did make a good moves, trading for Tobias Harris and giving up a lot to bring him in, and then paying him that max contract.
Yeah, yeah. But other than that, I mean, I think this is. I feel like this is like you said. I'm one of those people. I was kind of mad at the Jimmy Butler situation.
Right. I think a lot of
Just
people were.
yeah. But now I'm starting kind of seeing what Tobias can be under like a new head, because I kind of feel like, and I don't know if you can agree with me on this one, that Brett Brown kind of held back Tobias's potential and what he can bring to the table.
Right.
Because I think that Brett Brown is one of those coaches. I kind of feel like he held everybody back, like
He did.
Joel,
He
and
didn't hold
now
anybody accountable.
and I kind of made a video about this too. Like the word accountable is missing from their vocabulary. And then ever since when Doc Rivers was available, even though I was keeping an eye on the coaching search for the Sixers, it's like that's the thing too. It's like two coaches I really don't want either. The next thing you know, when I heard Doc Rivers is available, I said I was thinking to myself, Sixers better snatch him up before anybody else grabs him. And lucky we got him. And it showed in the way this team is constructed. Obviously, Doc Rivers had to clean up the mess a little bit, along with Daryl Morey coming in, which I think is by far, I think, one of the better moves that the front office has made to bring a new president of basketball operations in.
Yep. No, those were two huge moves this offseason.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, do you have any final remarks before I end this show a little bit early? Because I got to hop off because
Right.
my mother's birthday.
So, no, I mean, I enjoyed being on here, talking about the Eagles, talking about the Sixers.
Yeah.
It was good collabing with you, and I hope everybody enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
And, we'll see
Also,
you guys.
subscribe to Philly Jim if you haven't already. I had the little ticker across the screen.
Yep.
But this is obviously Robert from Philly Sports and Philly Jim. Hopefully we'll see you soon on the next episode.
Yep. See you guys in the future.